Hello, I'm Gauri. Welcome to my channel. Hello, dear friends. It's wonderful to connect with you again after a month. I wanted to create something that really excited me in an area of art I had never ventured in before. Today, I'm making a wall sculpture for a lobby or entrance or even the external wall of a home, all from items lying around. You can use items that you have and want to recycle or reuse. It looks ethnic, right? With the terracotta, the earthy colors, and all the symbols of good luck and prosperity. It has a cowbell, a recycled sanitizer bottle to plant a money plant, a living sculpture. The planning is most important. What objects to use? I made a list of items that could stand the sunlight, rain, and would be unharmed by dust. This is my list. You can create your own. I drew a rough layout. I got started with laying out my sculptural elements first. The most dominant element was to be an old non-stick pan I had stopped using. I had cleaned it and drawn a speech bubble with gesso. I decided on a hardboard to hold the elements together. Hardboards are very sturdy. All kinds of materials, whether wood, ceramic, or glass, could be stuck on it. Plus, supporting wooden dowels can be nailed at the back so that it goes onto the wall safely. We certainly don't want a predictable rectangular shape for the sculpture. It has to be more organic, floral, and leafy. So I mark out the shape in green. Cutting the hardboard is no mean task. I have also marked in pencil the outlines for all my elements. Next comes the first coat of varnish. The sculpture has to be weatherproof, and a coat of varnish works wonders to that end. Now that the varnish is dry, I am taking stock of all my elements. The empty Fevicryl bottles and the cups my kids painted are a cute touch. Now for the job of getting everything fixed solid in the right places. I am working with epoxy adhesive for the first time, and it can get a bit messy. The best adhesive available with all the heavy elements to be put together, especially the pan, the tiles, the wood. I did worry a little bit till the end, wondering if everything will hold up. As I worked on this part of the project, I was constantly thinking about how fluid the definition of art is. We can constantly push the boundaries as long as it allows us to express ourselves and be creative. In my own way, I'm pushing my boundaries here. I have painted a lot of canvases but never worked with wood, ceramic, or metal. The sculpture needs to look aesthetic and also needs to be structurally sound. With all the elements in place, I estimate it will weigh at least 8 kgs. All the elements of this sculpture, the painted terracotta cups, the tiles, the empty bottles of Fevicryl, and the small terracotta plates, have some memory associated with it. Some items, like the tiles, have been in my collection of junk for almost 20 years. Can you believe that? I always plan to do something special with them. The empty bottles of paint too have a beauty of their own. Like all craft lovers, I hesitate to throw anything away. One never knows what will come handy at what time. To fix the frame, I use liberal amounts of Fevicol. It turned out well. Everything was fixed firmly in about 10 hours. The next stage is to fill out the floral and the leaf shapes in between my elements. These flowers and leaves will bind the whole design together, create the organic theme. These shapes were drawn pretty much spontaneously and then filled in with my favorite white gesso. So some aspects of this piece just created themselves. The more one creates, the more ideas will flow. Here I just went with the flow to cover almost all the space between my elements. It's all taking shape now and looks almost like I imagined it. The wood, tiles, etc. are geometric shapes, but the underlying design of leaves is anything but geometric. The elements are three-dimensional while the design is 2D. This, I feel, creates an interesting juxtaposition. The cream tiles look better in a terracotta color. I use the shade of Fevicryl called Indian Red. The objective here is to create a circular ombre effect. I want the edges of the tiles to be a bit darker, to be of a darker shade than the center. The lighter center will allow the icons I plan to place there to stand out. On one of the tiles, I stuck again with araldite a small Ganesha statue. My leaf pattern is now dry, but it is missing something. A black outline will make it all pop, so I do that. The edges need the thick black acrylic color too, and I go in with my brush into all the nooks and crannies, outlining the entire pattern. I also think that the leaf motif will look great on the circular tiles and the wooden elements in the sculpture. So I extend it on the tiles as well as on the wood. I want my terracotta dishes to look glossy and new. So I paint them with the Indian red shade of acrylic. Some gold on the frame and then another liberal coat of clear varnish to make it all look glossy and weatherproof. I just love clear wood varnish and use it a lot on most of my decoupage projects. Now for the plastic money plant planter. It is an empty sanitizer bottle, flat on one side, so that it can be stuck firmly to the tile. I coat one side with gesso, and while waiting for this to dry, I begin completing the remaining outline on the wooden element in the sculpture. Now for the third and final coat of my favorite clear varnish. I just love the way it smells. The last element is the pan. I draw a Shri in Devanagari. The letter is considered auspicious, and in the olden times, all creative work commenced with the Shri at the very top. I clearly remember the letters written by my mother and grandmother. They wrote Shri at the very top before they began writing. By the way, the first letter of my husband's name too begins with a Shri. I want to stick to the same color combination of orange, gold, and red to decorate the pan. And this is how it goes forward. For the icon on the second tile, I am using a quick decoupage technique. I print out a picture of Goddess Lakshmi, cut it out, and then use Mod Podge to fix it. This too needs a coat of varnish along with the pan. Some 3D colors go onto the bell and it's all done. I waited for a day before I held it vertical to see that everything stays. The araldite worked perfectly. It's all firm, nothing fell off. Finally on the wall, I fill water into the planter and then a money plant stem goes in it. On go the lights and it's all ready. Do comment, like and share. Thank you for watching.